Hey everybody, welcome to the Mark Parham podcast. You can find me online by typing in, you can find me on Spotify by typing in Mark Parham podcast. And then you can also find me on Rumble by just typing in Mark Parham and my name should pop up. So anyway, I've been looking at, sort of seeing what's going on with Disney and their company and their stock. And Disney has really fallen to the gutter. And here's why I say this. Disney used to be a company that would come out with classic movies and, family friendly stuff that, people wanted to see. But now Disney is just like all over the place. Disney is coming out with a lot of stories that people don't want to see. They're trying to change up story characters and, movie characters and stuff. And so a character that normally would be one ethnicity or race, they're trying to change into something else. I mean, they're really into this whole diversity push. And again, I know that's what some liberals are pushing out there, but why don't companies like Disney get back to actually making good movies? Having a person who's black is the main character, or having a person who's whatever is the main character when that's not supposed to be the main character in the story, the original story. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And so they're doing all of these different things and, trying to be so inclusive to the point where it's really hurting the product. It's hurting the movies. And a lot of people are tired of that. A lot of people they don't support Disney like they used to. And I mean, again, some of the executives that are out of touch thought, well, we can bring back Bob Iger and, he can turn things around. And I think they brought him back, but the old magic doesn't seem to be working. And the reason why it's not working is because they need to get back to making quality movies. Forget about all this diversity stuff. Forget about, well, we need to make this a black character. We need to do this. It's like that's not helping their bottom line. And people that originally went to their theme parks, that, bought some of the Disney movies, that, sat down, at home and looked at those movies with their families, they don't view Disney the same way, and they're not, they don't want to buy, those movies anymore. And I think I was looking at one podcast where it showed how Disney is just losing value like almost every year right now, or every few months, something like that. But Disney has lost a lot of money, and shareholders are angry. People that have, invested in their stock aren't happy. And Disney just needs to clean house. They need to get a new CEO that isn't into all of this, we have to push all this diversity because, they just need to get rid of that whole, we have to have diversity mentality and get back to making some good movies. And not just on Disney, but I think that's the problem with Hollywood right now. Hollywood right now is so focused on diversity where they're coming out with movies that suck. If you think about the old Hollywood, and I'm not saying old Hollywood was perfect, but when you were watching a Clint Eastwood movie, or you were watching a movie that was an action movie or a movie that was suspense, like they weren't sitting up saying, well, you know what, we need a black character and we're going to change the story around and remix it and have the character that was white, we're going to change it to somebody who's black. It's just like if a person can act, if they're talented, feature them in the movie. Don't feature a person in the movie because they have black skin or because they're Hispanic or because they're Asian. Like, feature an actor in a movie because they can act and they actually fit, the character role that you need them to play. The movie industry, it's horrible because the industry, movies back in the days, even though we have all the 4K cameras and all this, special effects equipment and computers, there's movies back in the 70s and 80s, the movie industry back in the 70s, 80s, and I would even go as far as to say maybe the early 90s, is so much better than what they're putting out now. I mean, if you look at the old, I think, what was it, Terminator 2? Terminator 2, even though they had special effects in that movie that weren't like to the level of special effects now, but that movie, Terminator 2, is better than 90% of the movies that are out right now. And we're in 2024. again, some of the special effects were limited compared to now, but it wasn't a movie where they went overboard with worrying about diversity and, well, the female character has to be a Hispanic woman, because it's just like the liberals in the movie industry have gone insane. I mean, I even saw a movie where I forget what movie it is, but I mean, some of these movies, they're trying to turn superheroes into females, and it's just insanity. And I think if Disney and these companies keep on going down this direction, then people are going to get tired, and maybe it's going to bring back a revolution as far as independent filmmakers. Maybe people will sit back, take a DSLR camera or a red camera, with the 4K. I think they go up to 8K now, and people go and start making their own movies. And I think it's going to help maybe the independent film market, because the mainstream movies are terrible. And I say this as somebody who's, like I said, I love movies going all the way back to the 40s and 50s. And I've seen all of the different decades. Like I said, again, I'm somebody who has watched not all of them, but I've watched a good amount of, classic movies and stuff. And I'd go as far as to say there's movies in the 1950s, black and white films, that are better than 90% of the movies now. I would go as far as to say even the films that people didn't like back in the days in the 50s are better than some of the films right now, with all the special effects and all of the huge movie budgets. And so again, Disney is they're going to keep on losing money. The company's going to keep on losing value, if they keep on going down this role of, we have to have diversity for everything. Get back to quality directors, producers, filmmakers, and stop worrying about color. Get people who know what they're doing. It almost reminds me of the government right now. We're so worried about diversity to the point where we have people that aren't even qualified to be in certain positions get those positions. And then they get the position, and then we say, well, why is everything screwed up? Because we're so worried about, what tone this person's skin is, that we just forget about qualifications. So that's just my take. Again, please follow me online. Just type in Mark Parham Podcast on Spotify, and then on Rumble, just type in Mark Parham, and I should pop up. Thank you.